guys, welcome back to my channel. I had a viewer ask me about the decluttering video I did on papers a few months ago. What they were asking is, how do I decide what papers I keep and what papers I throw away, when they should scan papers, and how long they should keep papers for. So I thought I'd do a little paper decluttering update to give you some ideas on how you can organize your papers in future. The answer to this question will really depend on what papers you have and how comfortable you are with getting rid of things as well. So I've found that because I'm recently new to minimalism, it's sort of an evolving process for me, and I've gradually become more comfortable with discarding more stuff. So most of my inspiration for minimalism and decluttering comes from Marie Kondo's book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, and also the follow-up sequel to that book, which is called Spark Joy, and I'll put a link to those books below. And what she says is, when it comes to papers, you really should go on with the goal of getting rid of everything. So I think for me that's personally not possible. It's going to be different for every person, I think. So for me personally, one of the most regular documents that I would discard after getting it in the mail would be a bank statement. I can look up that information online, and if you're comfortable going on and looking at your information online, which I am, then I utilize that service. Other common things I get in the mail are things like my car insurance certificate. I used to keep every single one, and now because I'm renewing my insurance every year, I guess in case you really want to keep a really good record yourself of what your insurance rating has been over the years, I tend to just keep the most recent car insurance certificate. So with invoices and bills, I prefer to get them emailed to me if possible, so I don't have like a physical paper copy of them, and that way when I've paid them I can just file them away in an email folder that says paid bills, or whatever. It might be a plumbing bill or electricity bill. A lot of those things are emailed to you now. I know that information because I pay my bills online. I know that I can go online and look up the transaction history and see when I've paid a bill, who I've paid it to, and how much it's for, and I'm comfortable doing that. And then there's some bills like my telephone and internet bill where I have got it set up as an automatic payment every month to pay and settle the bill in full, and I'll just get an email from them. So I've actually requested email notifications, so they'll send me an email saying this is how much your bill is this month, it's due to be debited on this date, and I'll know that it's all taken care of, and that's how much it was, and that's when it's going to be paid, and then later I'll see it come out in my bank account transaction history, and I can just file that email. The other thing I'm really trying to get ruthless with is instruction manuals. Most of these you can get online now, so I like to save them to my iPad, and I can save them in Apple iBooks, so I find that really helpful. And even things like my son's instructions for how to put together some of his train sets, he's just got so much paper. So those things I've also started to throw those away and just keep a PDF version of that on my iPad instead. Marie Kondo talks about in her book of having a save for later folder, and the sorts of things you would keep here are things that you do need to hang on to. Again, the number of these sorts of documents you'll have will really depend on the person. So if you've got contracts and things like that, and also insurance certificates, and if you've got a loan with the bank, you might have your mortgage contract, and then of course all your tax records. And I just try and file everything as neatly and compactly as possible. Things like legal tax documents, the country or the space that you're operating in may have different legal requirements around record keeping for that, so you really need to do the research in that area and find out how that applies to you. I don't really tend to scan documents. I think just where I can, I have requested to receive certain documents like statements or invoices electronically, so either being able to look it up on a secure website online like my banking website, or having someone email an invoice to me instead of getting the physical one. So I haven't really had to scan a lot of papers myself, but if you do have a lot of papers that you need to keep but you don't have a lot of room to keep the physical paper, and if it's not necessary to keep the actual printed version, you may want to consider scanning them. So it really depends on what sort of papers you have and how much room you have to store them, and also what the requirement is for actually keeping physical copies of those things. In terms of getting rid of stuff, I like to err on the side of caution, and anything with personal information on it, including my address, I will shred. Certainly anything with like your date of birth or account numbers and things like that, I personally prefer to shred that stuff. So I hope you found this helpful. The system that you put in place really will depend on your needs and how comfortable you are in the amount that you want to keep. And also for important documents like legal and tax documents, your requirements will differ between country and the space that you're operating in, so you really need to do the research on that and find out how that applies to you before you make those decisions. And things, other papers are really at your discretion, so things like your instruction manuals and that kind of thing. For me, it's definitely been an evolving process where I've gradually become more comfortable keeping a lot less stuff than I used to. If you're new to my channel, consider subscribing. I upload videos at least once a week, and I am planning some more decluttering videos in the future. So far, using the KonMari method, I've gone through clothes, books and papers, and I'll link those videos below for you if you want to check them out. So yeah, keep an eye out for some more decluttering videos in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!